blog, Barry. Maybe Dave could give the blog address. Dave?
It's the, and I got to think about this because it's a little bit different. It's devilatmydoorstep.wordpress.com.
Right, DEVILAT, my doorstep.
WordPress.
WordPress. WORDPRESS, right?
Right.
.com. I have a little advantage over Sarah. I'm just enough older than she is, so she doesn't remember. I was vaccinated young enough to believe everything that is going on now. The union wants to destabilize a bank, collapse the stock market, put its interests ahead. One of the lines in that Glenn Beck tape was, we're losing this war, and the only way to win it is to collapse the system.
Well, that's exactly right. And I have a blog, and I'm going to put out another one tomorrow after what I saw tonight, but as a collection of my blog articles. But I have one called Gasping Dinosaurs, which talks about the unions. And the truth of the matter is that, they're less than 12% of the workforce today, and they're less than 7% of the private workforce. And they're in desperate shape. They need money financially. A lot of their pension funds and that are underfunded, and they're desperate. And desperate people do desperate things.
I'm thinking not of a dinosaur, but of that strange-looking animal from the sea that sometimes you see on the beach, and it's gasping its last, but it's got a lot of poison in its tail. The lifeguards keep all the children away.
Stingray?
Something like that.
Yeah, the stingrays of that,
I was going to say, I was vaccinated at an early age during World War II. After the Japanese attacked us at Pearl Harbor and Adolf Hitler declared war on us, there was a labor leader named John L. Lewis of the United Mine Workers. I may not be able to pass an essay test on the details. All I know is he put himself and his union's interests ahead of the United States of America in the middle of our worst shooting war. By the way, I wouldn't believe Richard Trumka is real if it weren't for John L. Lewis. I would think Richard Trumka were a Hollywood confection. But John L. Lewis and Richard Trumka look exactly alike, even though they're many generations apart. The notion of a union, an American union, putting its interests ahead of the country is a very... I think a lot of people are simply not going to believe that until it's too late.
Well, that's my fear, and quite honestly, that's why I'm so committed to this, because I've had to fight these people firsthand, and I've seen their ideology, and how they think, and understand that they're committed to, not being extinct. And they don't care who they hurt. They don't care if they bring this country down. And they really, really believe that socialism is the way to go. And it's just incredible that, I talk to people every day, and they're naive. They don't understand what's going on out there.
I'd like to know how they answer this. Socialism has failed. And you just don't believe me, believe any referee that you may choose. Socialism, by all objective standards, standard of living, production, once upon a time, there was a breadbasket to the world, Ukraine. Ukraine could have fed the world. It was so fertile. And oddly enough, right next to Ukraine was a backup breadbasket to the world, Transylvania. They both fell under communism, and they began importing wheat from Australia, Canada, and the United States. But I'll just have time for this question. Maybe we'll tackle it on the other side. How would they answer this? Socialism has failed in 39 countries, wherever it's been tried. Now, if you had a cat that tore up 39 sofas, would you buy him sofa number 40? We'll be right back with Dave Bago.
I wouldn't.
Author of The Devil at My Door. What an inspiring... Just to know somebody like Dave Bago turns tired blood into sparkling burgundy. doorstep. It's the story that's got everything. It's got clergymen saying, Mr. Bago, we don't care about the facts. We just want you to sign where the union wants you to sign. And we have such a clergyman who later runs into, or Dave runs into him or whatever in a restaurant, and he recants. He admits he was on the wrong side.
I think he'd read Dave's book, right, Dave?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, so he changed his mind after reading your book.
You got 7-year-old girls on Halloween coming up to Dave Bago's door, and the Union Command and Control vehicle is right outside making sure the operation goes successfully. She wanted you to get some Union handout or something, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, my Lord.
It was awful.
Put me on.
She had a flyer that said the buildings that my company cleans every night are house of horrors where people are abused and intimidated.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that's totally ridiculous.
Yeah. But you know, you mentioned the key earlier. Your workers stood up for you, and that moral support was very important in your victory.
Well, that's right. They understood. You know, there was several incidences when, and I went out and I, you know, they've got this new TV show about bosses going out and.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And I don't do that. A big percentage of my employees know me anyway. But when we went through this, I'd go out and I'd sit in the buildings at night and talk to the people about what's going on. And I was just refreshed to see that so many of them understood what was going on. Mm-hmm. And I had one down in Cincinnati where I addressed about 40 employees. And I said, you know, look, I know the union's promising, you know, you're going to get double your wages and all this stuff and everything. And I had one gal stand up and started waving her hand at me. And what's interesting about this, I had two of my employees sitting right in front of me that had SEIU buttons on. Mm. And I never said a word to them. You know, I didn't challenge them on it all. But this gal stood up. She's about in the middle of the room. She says, Mr. Bego, can I say something? I said, sure. She says, I want all of you here to understand something. You know something? They may promise us we're going to get these type of wages here, but you know something? They may get that in New York, but the cost of living in New York is twice as high or more than it is here in Cincinnati. If you people think that that's going to happen, you're crazy. You need to listen to this man.
Ah, hooray, hooray. Well, you point out that you are not pointing the bony finger of indignation at the rank and file American Union member. Where I'm waiting for the Libyans in Tripoli to rise up. I'm also waiting for some, whistleblowers, for some rebellion in the ranks of the SEIU itself.
Well, you would think so, but it gets back to, and you talk about the cat and buying sofas and that. Mm-hmm. Here's the problem that we fundamentally have, is that the unions. And I don't want to say the unions. I want to call it big labor because that's what it is. It's the elitist. They are masters at picking out people who are easily intimidated or indoctrinated, brainwashed, if you may, and getting these people and getting them in a room and filling them with all this stuff and getting them all riled up. And you know how it is. Like, it's kind of like a basketball team for a game. A coach, you get them all riled up and cheering and, say we're going to beat the other team and all that. Well, they do the same things, only they do it with all this misinformation. And then they put these people out on the street, and these people really think that what the unions told them or the big labor bosses have told them is true.
Yeah, but Dave, that isn't going to last too long because when their pensions flop, when there's no funding for their pensions, and the word gets out, they're going to take a second thought, I strongly believe, because they are the good people of the union. So